This is myself, Dr. Ritin Kumar, Assistant Professor, AJ Institute of Engineering and Technology, Mangaluru. Today, I am going to discuss the topic Maxwell equation. In the Maxwell equation, let us see first the introduction regarding the review of vector calculus. So introduction, before going to the review of vector calculus directly, let us see or let us ponder some of the points regarding the introduction of Maxwell's equation. So first of all, what is these equations? Maxwell equations are a set of coupled partial differential equations which brings together the Lorentz force law from the foundation of classical electromagnetism, classical optics and electric circuits. The Maxwell equation provides a mathematical model for electric, optical and radio technologies such as power generation, electric motors, wireless communication, lenses, radar, etc. This equation also describes how electric and magnetic field are generated by the charges. Due to the movement of the charges, they constitute the electric current and the currents and the changes of the field in the sense changing from magnetic field to electric field to magnetic field. The equations are named after the physicist and mathematician James Clerk Maxwell, who was between in the era of 1861 and 1862 published an early form of the equation that includes Lorentz force law. Maxwell was also the first person to propose the light is an electromagnetic phenomenon. Light is an electromagnetic wave, it's starting from microwaves, gamma rays, etc. So, taking this brief introduction, now let us see regarding the review of vector calculus. So, first of all, let us see an operator called as del, or it is called as nabla. Nabla, in the sense, many of the European countries, they used to call this one as del, or some European countries, they call it as Nabla actually. Okay, so let us see what is this del or nabla. Actually, it means to carry a specific vector calculus. This operator is mainly meant to carry a specific vector calculus. When applied to a function defined on a one-dimension domain, it denotes its standard derivative as defined in the calculus. So it is actually an operator which can be applied on any one-dimensional function as well as even three-dimensional function. For example, del or nabla can be designated as del is equal to dou by dou x of ax cap plus dou y of ay cap plus dou y dou z of az cap. Dou by dou z, dou by dou x, dou by dou y and dou by dou z are partial differentiation of the equation along x, y and z axis, and ax, ay and az are the unit vectors acting along x direction, y direction and z direction. So this kind of an operator, when we operate, so the operator is known as del, or it's simply called as a nabla. Now let us see the next kind of operators called as divergence. So what is this divergence? Actually, it represents the magnitude of physical quantity emerging or converging at a point. For example, so tip of a fountain head is a source of divergence. As you know, when the water comes out of the tip of the fountain, so the water will diverge. So it is the source of divergence. Even the diverge water, sometimes if it goes inside the pipe, we can call it as a convergent. So electric field are generally divergent in nature. Electric field in the sense these are the field lines created due to positive and negative charges. If there is a positive charges, field line starts to diverge. The positive charges, electric field line starts to emanate. It starts to come out. So it is a diverging field. In case of a negative charges, all the field lines are going to converge. So it is called as a convergent field. Though it is in converging or though it's in diverging, so we can call it as the operator which we can apply on that kind of physical quantity are called as divergence. So mathematically, it is obtained by differentiating component of a vector function f. So f, that is with it is actually acting along, a part of the f is acting along x-axis, fx, fy and fz with respect to the position coordinates x, y and z. So in the vector calculus, divergence is a vector operator that operates on a vector field producing a scalar field given that the quantity of the vector field source at each point. More technically, it can be told that the divergence represents the volume density of the outward flux of a vector field from an infinitesimally volume around the ground point. So generally, when a del is operated on a vector, so dot product is known as divergence here. So del dot f, that is actually divergence of f, is equal to dou by dou x plus dou by dou y plus dou by dou z of f. But since f is acting along x, y and z, it can be represented as dou by dou x of fx, dou by dou I of fy, dou by dou z of fz. Partial differentiation of f along x-axis, f along y-axis plus f along the z-axis. The volume charge density enclosed in a closed surface is expressed as, so it is expressed as del dot V, volume charge density, the amount of charges enclosed inside a small volume. So it is expressed as like this. So it is V dot D. So you can see here. So it is dou by dou x plus dou by dou y along y axis and dou by dou z of dz. Okay. So next. So on the right hand side, in the above expression is a scalar. So what happens is when you apply a divergence to a vector, so since D, it's a charge density is a vector. So when you apply a divergence to a vector, so it yields a scalar quantity. It always yields a scalar quantity. So divergence operation on a vector yields a scalar function. So divergence of a vector is 0 if there is no outward or inward flow. For example, no water is coming from the pipe. So no flow of charges from an closed surface. So in such cases, since there is no flow of charges, we can tell that there is no divergence there. Hence, divergence of vector is equal to 0. Magnetic field forms closed loop. Magnetic field forms closed loop. We know that magnetic field lines is going to start from the north pole, it goes and ends towards the south pole and return back to the north pole. So it forms a closed loop. It starts from the north and again ends from the from the south to the towards the north itself. So it is a closed loop. So there is no such divergence. So divergence of a closed loop is always taken as a 0. Okay. So we can see divergence of a magnetic field. So it is very clear in this one. So it is del dot B. Del dot B. So you can have del dot B is equal to 0. So divergence of B, where B is the magnetic field, which is a closed loop in terms of Tesla. So divergence of the magnetic field always reduces to 0. So diverging electric field lines from positive charges is taken as in positive divergence. Converging electric field lines from negative charges is taken as a negative divergence. So if there is a positive charge, field lines comes from the positive charge, it is taken as a positive divergence. If there is a negative charge, field lines goes inside the negative charge, these are taken as negative divergence. So divergence of a vector, you can see here, you can see, so illustration, so positive charges here, so the electric field lines are going to expel out, so negative charge, electric field are going to expel inside, and you can see that a uniform moment of charge or no charge, it is called as a zero divergence. First one is a positive, second one is negative divergence, third one is zero divergence. Now let us see how to apply the divergence to a vector. So here it is del dot V. Del dot V is an vector here. So del dot V, you can see it is dou by dou x of I plus dou by dou y of j plus dou by dou z of k that is Vx I vector plus Vyj plus Vzk. So divergence of V. So it is del dot V. So we can write it as del dot V is equal to dou Vx by dou x, dou V dy by dou y, dou Vz by dz. Regarding the problems we can see. So first one regarding the divergence. So divergence of f is equal to calculate the divergence of f for f vector is equal to x square y I cap minus z cube minus 3x j cap plus 4y square k cap. So here we have to determine the divergence of this particular vector. So you can see that, so there is an vector here f is equal to x square y I cap, that is the moving along x axis, j is unit vector moving along the y axis, and k is unit vector moving along the z axis. Here when you calculate the divergence, so we have to take care of the sign. See, you can see here a negative sign is there, minus z cube minus 3x, and remaining are the positive sign. So we can take it like thatly, and directly we go it for the calculation. Okay. Next one, solution for this one, let us see. So divergence of f is equal to del dot f vector. So as I told, dou by dou x of x square y plus dou x square y plus dou by dou x of dou by dou y of minus z cube minus 3x plus dou by dou z of 4y square. So then you take the partial differentiation of unit vector acting along x axis, unit vector acting along the y axis, and unit vector acting along the z axis. Okay, so you can see here, so it is dou by dou x of x square y, first one which is written here, and next dou by dou y of the second component which is acting along the y axis, and dou by dou x of the third component which is acting along the z axis. Okay, so next we can further differentiate. So when you differentiate, so we get it as like this. So dou by dou x of x square y gives you 2xy, whereas dou by dou y of this is a partial differential of y, but there is no component y here, so it yields to 0. Next further one, this one, dou by dou z of 4y square, there is no component called z here, since it becomes a constant, so dou by dou z of this factor reduces to 0. So when you further calculate, so you will get the answer as next one, you will get the answer as 2xy. So this 2xy, so this 2xy, whatever you get it as is the answer, whereas remaining is 0, other one is 0. So here sometimes what happens is, see, people may give you calculate the divergence of f for f is equal to this kind of vector, and given x equal to say something like 1 and y is equal to something like 2. So in such cases, what once you get the divergence of f as a equation, then further substitute that x and y in this equation. So it may be like this, 2 into 1 into 2, so that yields you 4. 4 is the answer. So you can see that that is a scalar. So whatever the answer you get, it is a scalar. So we tell that divergence of a vector always results in scalar quantity. So divergence of a vector, it results in a scalar quantity. Okay. So next we can see the second one. Determine the constant c such that vector a vector is equal to ax plus ay ax cap plus by plus bx ay cap plus x plus cz az cap is an solenoid. So yeah, we have to calculate is a solenoid. So what we have to do, first let us take the vector here. You can see that a vector, so solenoid, it is given as a solenoid. So a vector is x plus ay, it is a factor which is acting along x axis. Y plus bx is a factor acting along y axis. X plus cz is a factor which is acting along z axis. So let us see now, for a solenoid, for a solenoid, what happens is, see, you can see here, for a solenoid, del dot A is equal to 0. We already saw that divergence of a closed loop is always equal to 0. Divergence of a closed loop, since here it is given as a solenoid. And let us see first one, what is a solenoid. See, solenoid is generally a generic term that is a coil of wire used as an electromagnet. It is used as an electromagnet, and it can be defined as a type of electromagnet, the purpose of which is to generate and controlled magnetic field through the coil, wound it tightly packed in the form of helix. Generally it is in the form of helix. You can see that one, in the form of an helix. So this is the solenoid. You can see that one. The magnetic field line starts from the north pole, it goes like this to the south pole, again returns back to the north pole. So here this is a closed loop, hence closed loop we can write that, we have written that one, del dot B is equal to 0. We have written del dot B is equal to 0. So here, instead of taking as B as the magnetic field, in the problem he has taken A as the magnetic field. So for a solenoid, del dot A is equal to 0. So next let us take the equation. Now let us do first del dot A. So del dot A, divergence of A. So what we did, we took the partial differentiation dou by dou x of x plus ay. So next like this we did dou by dou y of y plus bx and z axis. So dou by dou z of x plus cz. We did this one, and when you partial differentiate this one, we will get it as, see, del dot A is equal to, here it is dou by dou x. You can see here it is x, dou by dou x, that is equal to 1, ay, that is 0, dou y by dou y, that is equal to 1, and bx is 0, dou by dou x is equal to 0, and it is c into 1, so it is equal to c. So when you do that one, further we'll get del dot A is equal to 1 plus 1 plus c. But for a solenoid, we know that del dot A is equal to 0. Since he has asked you to calculate the value of c, for a solenoid del dot A is equal to 0. If you put here 0 is equal to 2 plus c, or c is equal to minus 2. We'll get the answer as c is equal to minus 2. Okay. So next one, let us see the next kind of operator called as gradient. Let us see, students, what do you mean by gradient? See, gradient is an operator used to perform a spatial variable of an variation of a scalar variable. So it yields a vector. See, generally what happens whenever there is a scalar, so how to convert it as a vector? So what we do, we apply the gradient. Okay, so when you apply a gradient to such quantities, after the operation, whatever the solution we get will be in terms of a vector. For example, see, the variation of temperature in a room represented as, see, we can see the variation of temperature in the room. So it is the gradient of T. Gradient of T is equal to dou by dou x of T ax cap, dou by dou y of T ay cap, and dou by dou z of T az cap. So here what happens is, in the 3 dimensions, so x, y and z axis, so in the 3 dimensions, so x, y and z axis, so when you measure the temperature, origin, so when you measure the temperature here, so temperature along the x-axis, is taken as like this, dou t by dou x of ax cap, and temperature along the y-axis is written like this, dou by dou y t of ay cap, and temperature along the z-axis can be written as dou t by dou z az cap. So a temperature is generally a scalar quantity. So this temperature, if you measure it along the x direction, y direction and along the z direction, so this temperature can be converted into 3-dimension quantity. Understood? So that is along ax cap, along ay cap, as well as along the az cap. And what are these ax, ay and az? Ax is the unit vector along the x direction, ay is the unit vector along the y direction, and az is the unit vector along the z direction. Okay. So next, So right hand side of the expression is a vector. As I told that right hand side of the expression yields a vector. Gradient of any scalar yields a vector. So it is in the direction of maximum increase or decrease of the scalar variable. See, sometimes what happens as you move from one point to the other point. So here the temperature may be some 30 degrees centigrade. After some meter, the temperature may be something like 28 degrees centigrade. It may decrease, or sometimes the temperature may increase it to 32 degrees centigrade. So it may increase. So what gradient suggests you that it is in the direction of maximum or minimum of the scalar variable. And even electric field is represented as gradient of a scalar potential. Generally, electric field is also represented as gradient of scalar potential. So you can see E is equal to minus del dot V. So electric field. So electric field is a gradient of the electric field. See, electric field is an uh, uh, is an actually an scalar quantity, so that we are converting it as a negative vector quantity by negative of del dot V. So gradient of V, so dou V by dou x Ax cap plus dou V by dou Z, dou V by dou y Ay cap and dou V by dou Z Az cap. Okay, let us further continue with this one. Next kind of operator called as curl. So what is this curl? The curl, this is nothing but the measure of degree of rotation per unit area. Degree of rotation per unit area. In vector calculus, the curl is a vector operator that describes the infinitesimally rotation of vector field in 3-dimension Euclidean space. Actually, at every point in the field, the curl of that point is represented by a vector. The attributes of the vector characterizes the rotation at that point. Okay. So the direction of the curl is the axis of rotation, which is represented by generally right hand rule, and the magnitude of the curl is the magnitude of the rotation. So direction of the rotation is represented by axis of rotation, and magnitude is a magnitude of rotation. If the vector field represents the flow velocity of a moving fluid, the curl is in the is the circulation density of the fluid. Okay. So we can see how to calculate a curl. So when you operate a del cross product across a vector, so that gives you curl. So curl of any vector A is given by the determinant of Ax, Ay, Az, that is dou x, dou y, dou z. You can see where dx, dy, dz are the partial derivative of the vector which is acting along x, y and z axis, and Ax is the component of the vector acting along x, and Ay is the component acting along z, and Az is a component of vector acting along the z direction. So magnetic field around a straight carrying conductor is expressed as del cross H equal to J. Magnetic field along a straight carrying conductor is expressed as del cross H equal to J. We know that the magnetic field, whenever there is a movement of current, in a straight carrying conductor, there exists the magnetic field. So there exists the magnetic field around the conductor. Okay, that is given by H. There exists the magnetic field around the conductor, that is H here. Okay. So del cross H, when you calculate this del cross H, it gives you the current density J. What is current density? Current density is J is equal to, that is actually current through the unit area A. It gives you current through the unit area A is called as current density J. So next one. So curl of an irrotational vector is 0. Curl of an irrotational vector. There are two kinds of, actually what is curl? It gives you the number of rotations. If you calculate the number of rotations per unit area, that is called as curl. So curl of an irrotational vector is 0. What do you mean by an irrotational vector? For example, the electric field lines which starts from the positive charge, it goes and ends with the negative charge. It is an open loop. It is not an closed loop. Here, electric field line starts from positive. It is almost something like this. We can explain here. So it starts from the positive charge. and ends with the negative. So like this, it goes and ends with the negative, and again it does not comes back, it does not comes back like this, it does not comes back. So it is an open loop, so it is an irrotational vector. So curl of any irrotational vector is 0. For example, curl of an electric field, suppose if you take like this, how to calculate what is the value of curl of an electric field? E, that is always equal to 0. Curl of an electric field is 0. Okay, so static electric field possesses no curl. Static electric field possesses no curl when there is only positive charge. There is no negative charge, only positive charge is there. Then only the field lines just starts, and there is no such field lines starting from that and ending at a negative thing, or there is only negative charges. There is no such field lines coming and ending at the negative charges. Static, only the positive charge. Simply in the infinitesimal space we can see that only a positive charge is there. Okay, so there is no field lines, so such are called a static electric field, possesses no curl. The curl of such things are always equal to 0. Okay, so we write here del cross E is always equal to 0. Okay, so regarding the solenoid, as I told, solenoid, I explained that it's an coil where the magnetic field is generated from the north pole of the coil, goes and turns, ends with the south pole, and again comes back to the north pole. So regarding the solenoid here, so divergent field, and you can see here divergent and there is a curl. So there is a divergent and there is a curl. Okay, so we can see how to apply. So divergence, that is a curl of E, curl of an electric field, it's always equal to 0, and curl of a magnetic field is always equal to J, that is current per unit area. So according to the Faraday's law, we can see that one, Faraday's law tells you that del cross E, that is curl of an electric field, curl of an electric field is equal to minus dou B by dou T. Curl of an electric field is always equal to minus dou B by dou T. Okay. So next one, we can calculate the curl of an vector. So curl of an vector, so we can see that it is given by a vector here. So f is equal to, f vector is equal to x square y I cap minus z cube minus 3x j cap plus 4y square k cap. So there is a vector here. So we have to calculate what is the curl of this vector. Okay. So to calculate the curl of the vector, as we know that curl f can be written as del cross f is equal to ijk. Ijk are the unit vectors along x, y and z axis. Dou by dou x and dou by dou y and dou by dou z are the partial differentiation of the vectors, the components of the vector along x, y and z axis, and the components which got split along x, y and z, that is ijk, is given by x square y minus 3 minus z cube minus 3x 4y square. Okay, so first what we do is, let us first calculate the determinant here. So I into, so it is like this, it is actually in this way, I into, we have to take here, it is dou by, it is dou y, something like minus this one 2z, and here it is dou z by dou y 4 y square. You just okay, solve this determinant, you will get the solution as here. So I into dou y by dou 4y square minus dou by dou z into minus z cube minus 3x. You have to take this minus sign, and of course you know that determinants plus, this is taken as plus, and this is minus, and this is taken as plus, and you can solve the determinant. Okay, as usual how you solve in mathematics. So solve this determinant, finally you will end up with the expression curl of f is equal to 8y plus 3z square I cap plus 3 minus x square k cap. So this is the solution for the equation f is equal of that vector f. So you can see that curl of a vector f always yields an another vector. So curl always yields an another vector, whereas gradient always yields a vector quantity, whereas divergence yields you an scalar quantity. Hope I think you have understood this problem regarding the calculation of curl. Let us see the next kind of problem. Given a is equal to 3x square plus y az ax cap plus bx minus y cube minus 2z ay cap plus 2x plus cy plus 3z square az cap. Find the values of a comma b comma c. The vector a is irrotational. The vector a is irrotational. So it is an irrotational vector. We already studied that we have to calculate the curl now. So for a curl, del cross A is always equal to 0. Curl of an irrotational vector is 0. For example, curl of an electric field is always equal to 0. Now let us try to determine the solution curl of A. So curl of A is given by an determinant ax, ay, az, which is dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z, and the part of that equation which moves along x-axis is 3x square plus y plus az, bx minus 5y cube minus 2z, 2x plus cy plus 3z square. So it is a curl of an determinant. Okay. So now let us try to solve this determinant as I told earlier. So take this one ax, a unit vector ax. So this is like this, dou by dou y of this one minus dou by dou z of this quantity. Before that you have to take here plus minus plus as the notation. Normally how we solve the determinant, in the same way let us solve this determinant. So ax into dou by dou y of minus that is bx by 5y cube, and next again similarly ay that is ay, you can see ay, this one ay. So these are the two things. So dou by dou x of this into this one, and similarly dou by dou z of this into this one you have to do and you have to solve. Similarly last one az cap. So dou by dou of bx y 5y cube minus 2z minus dou by dou z of 3x square plus y plus az. So further let us continue. When you solve this one, we will end up with, you can see here, so ax is ax, here we have written that one. So dou by dou y of 2x is 0, this is equal to 0, and cy, so that is equal to c, so this is equal to c, and anyways this is equal to 0 again. So similarly this is equal to 0, okay, and this is also dou by dou z of this is also equal to 0, and dou that is equal to minus 2. Of course minus of minus is plus 2. So we can write here as ax into c plus 2. Similarly minus ay, you differentiate this one, you will get here 2 minus a. Similarly when you differentiate here, you will get here b minus 1, okay. So further when you solve, for a to be an irrotational vector, so it is given a is an irrotational vector. You can see here the previous slide. So you can see here we have given that a is irrotational. Here it is given that a is irrotational. For a to be an irrotational vector, as I told, curl of a is always equal to 0. So what happens here is, since this is an irrotational vector, so we can write it here 0 here itself. So 0 is equal to this much, okay. Then we can solve this one by using the inspection method. So using the inspection method, what happens is, a is a rotational vector, we will, and del cross a is equal to 0. By this we will get that a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 1 and c is equal to minus 2. So you can see axis of rotation curl. So you'll get the solution for a, b, c. In this way we can solve this one. And axis of rotation here, this is the curl which is a rotating vector, and this is the direction of axis which can be got by the Fleming's right hand rule, okay. So you can have this one using the right hand rule, normal right hand rule, you can get the axis of rotation, and whirling of the finger represents the number of curls. Number of rotating vector per unit area represents the curl, okay. Next one, find curl of a vector given. So fx is equal to f is x comma y comma z is 2xy I cap x square y j cap plus 2yz k cap. Is f is irrotational. Now we have to check whether f is irrotational. To check whether f is irrotational, only thing what we can do is we have to prove that del cross f is equal to 0. We have to prove del cross f is equal to 0. Okay. So the solution of the first we have to solve this determinant. So when we solve this determinant, we can see the dou by dou x of x square y, dou by dou 2yz I cap, dou by dou x 2xy, dou by dou z 2yz plus dou by dou x 2xy, dou by dou y x square plus y square into k cap. When you solve this determinant, we will end up with 0. We will end up with 0. This indicates, so this is the end up with 0. So that means we are getting the curl of this vector as that is equal to 0. You are getting curl of this vector is 0. So whenever the curl of vector is 0, we can tell that that vector is an irrotational vector. In this way, one can prove that the vector is irrotational. This is a very good problem. You can go through this one. Okay. So as a summary, we have seen the del operator, we have seen the divergence operator, we have seen the gradient operator, we have seen the curl, etc. As a summary, we can tell like this: del operator, del is equal to dou by dou x I cap plus dou by dou y j cap plus dou by dou z k cap. It is just an differential operator where you can operate. Suppose if you operate that del on a scalar function, that results in a vector, so that is called as a gradient. Del dot f or del of f gives you a vector. Suppose if you take that del operator and do a dot product on a vector, that yields you a scalar. Divergence, it is called as divergence. If you do a dot product using del, it is called as a divergence, which gives you a scalar quantity. Divergence, if you are doing a cross product on a vector, del cross a gives you the vector quantity, as we saw the curl number of rotating vectors per unit area gives you the curl. So last one, if you are doing del square a, if you are doing del square and operating on a scalar, that gives you generally a Laplacian. So this is the basic concepts of del operator, divergence, gradient and curl. Okay. Now let us go with the line integration. So first, there are different kinds of integrations: line integration, surface integration and volume integration. Let us go by one. What do you mean by line integration? So line integration is an integral where the function is to be integrated along a curve. It's an integral where function is to be integrated along the curve, or it is called as, it is an integration in one dimension. It is the integration done in one dimension. So line or path integral of a vector field. So line integral of a vector field A between A comma B along a given path length is given by IL is equal to A to B A dot DL. DL is the line vector, so that is equal to A integral from A to B ax into dx plus ay into dy plus az into dz, where a vector having the component ax along x axis, ay along z axis and az along the ay along y axis and az along the z axis. So line integral depends on the point A and B and the path between A comma B in general. If I is independent of the path of integration, the vector A is actually called as conservative field. If I is independent of the path, line integral of the conservative field vanishes along the closed counter. So closed counter of A dot dl. So when you do a closed counter of A dot dl, so line integral is equal to 0. For example, in the line integral in physics, work is equal to force into distance. So P to Q, moving from P to Q, F dot dl. So it can be calculated as F dot dl. So this is line integral, and we can see One example for this one, if the charge density along a line charge rho L, then the total charge on the line is given by, so you can see that one total charge is given by Q is equal to 0 to L rho L dot dl. So rho L is a charge density across the small elementary length dl, elementary length dl, and L is the length of that wire or any charge carrying conductor. Okay, so Q is a total charge moving in that charge carrying conductor. So work done in moving a unit charge in the electric field is also given by W is equal to A to B E dot dl, again line integral. So work moving from an unit positive charge from infinitely small long distance can given by W is equal to, or moving from a point A to B is given by W is equal to integral of A to B E dot dl. So we can see here the line integral here, so it is moving in one direction across the curved path. Okay, so next kind of integration we can see is a surface integral. So what is this surface integral? Surface integral is a generalization of an multiple integral to integration over the surface. So it can be thought of as double integral along the line integral. It is an integration in two dimension. So surface integral, so surface differential elements ds are vectors with direction along the outward normal n to be the surface as in the projection of vector a along n. Thus the normal component of vector a, only the normal component of vector a contributes to the surface integral. We can see that here it is very clear. So is from surface integral a dot ds. We took there a line integral, that is a charges moving in a small straight line carrying conductor. So there we have an line integral. For example, now you imagine that charge is around the spherical surface or any irregular surface. In such cases we can take it as ds. Okay, so it can be written as ds surface density it is, so having an vector it is, so n cap ds. So we can write integral s a vector, which is a vector which is acting along three dimension ax, ay, z, and ds is the surface density having a vector n cap. So flux of the electric field and work done on the surface are the examples of a surface integral. Okay, so let us take an example here. If the charge density on an uniform surface is rho s, then total charges on the surface is given by Q is equal to double integral of rho s into dx into dy. That is, first integral refers to the integration along x axis, second integral refers to the integration along the y axis, and rho s is the charge per unit area. Or you can write it as an closed contour of s rho s into ds. So you can see it's a ds is the surface density of the charges, dx and dy the same thing we have written here. So dx and dy same thing here, it is dx along x axis and dy along the z axis, or directly we can read it as a ds in this way. And what is rho? Rho is the surface density of the charges, so here it is taken as rho s. Okay. Next, last kind of integration is left out is the volume integral. So volume integral refers to an integral over three dimension domain. That is, it is the special case of multiple integrals. Thus it is integration in three dimension. It's a three dimension domain. For example, if the charge density in the volume is rho v, then total charge in the volume is given by Q is equal to triple integral of rho v dou x, dou y, and dou z. So we can take it in this way. It is closed contour of, so together this one, instead of writing each time that is the density of charges which is along x axis, y axis, and z axis, together we can write it as rho v. We can write it as rho v into dv. This, instead of writing dx, dy, dz and triple integral like this, the equation can be represented as closed contour of v, this dou x, dou y, dou z can be written as dv or dou v. Okay, So on an together, if you consider, so this is the example of an line integral. So line integral, so you can see a small surface left out here, so surface integral, and a volume. So it looks like an two-dimensional shape. Actually you have to consider as a three-dimensional shape, for example volume of the sphere, etc. So we the integration applied to calculate the total number of charges across this volume, etc., we go with the volume integral. So here Q refers to total charges present on the surface of this volume, okay. Hope you have understood the basic concepts of vector calculus. We have studied regarding the del, we have studied regarding the gradient, the curl, divergence, and we have seen the problems related to that one. And we have seen the three kinds of integration briefly three kinds of integration: line integration, surface integration, and volume integration. With these basics we can see further in the next class, okay. Till that, take care. Thank you.